Welcome to Cornwall. We're here for the next 2 weeks doing a bit of dog sitting for my parents. So I asked a motorcycle company if they will send me, you'll guess by the thumbnail, Voge Rally 300. Chinese brand that is owned by the parent company Loncin. Loncin was started, I think, in 1983, and this Voge is the premium arm, the premium brand of Loncin. Off-road focused motorcycle. I mean, look at those knobbly tyres, look at the high ground clearance, crash bar on the front, and engine bars to protect the engine, high exhaust, 300cc, 28 horsepower. You ready for this? Full price, not including the fact there's a current discount that I'll tell you about, £3,800 for a brand new off-road motorcycle. And this is the point with these. This is a bike you're going to take down filthy muddy tracks. You're going to drop it, it's going to get bashed up, biffed up, abused, used, enjoyed. Really, do you need any more than this? You want really to spend as little money as possible, as much bang for your buck, as the Americans would say. So at 6'1", it's actually quite tall. That is how I look. Just the initial impressions of this bike. There's nothing here that's going to blow you away. The quality of the plastics, they look fine. The quality of the bike in general, it looks okay. This is a 2023 bike, so 1.5 to 2 years old. The quality of the metals looks acceptable, although I'll be honest, there are a few areas where a bit of rust is coming through. So it's not a specifically remarkable bike in any way, but when you look at that price point, what you get, this is a good 2.5 grand, something like that, cheaper than the Honda that dominates the market, the Honda CRF 300 Rally. This is a fraction of the cost of that bike. And I know what some of you will be saying. You're going to be saying, hold on, Freddie, look, it's a Chinese bike. I'm not buying Chinese bikes because Chinese don't make good products. Bear with me. If you have that attitude, then you have to accept that you have to be completely honest and level-headed with everything. My Apple Mac, that has to go in the bin because that is made in China. My iPhone, that's going in the bin because that's made in China. My microphones that I use to film every single video, they're going in the bin because that's made in China. And finally, and all I've done is taken the things I use most for filming, my high-end, good quality camera, one of the best reputations in the business, that is in the bin too. If you own a BMW motorcycle with the 900cc engine, well, that 900cc engine from the BMW 900GS, that's made by Loncin, the parent company of Voge. So you can't own a BMW either. Many other Chinese brands make vehicles that you wouldn't have expected, the likes of Citroën, BMW, even Mini. A lot of those are made in China as well. So really, look, the Chinese are here to stay, whether you like it or not, and you really can't argue with the value of the product. So I've got this bike for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to enjoy it to its fullest in this extremely moody Cornish weather. Today, just going to chill out, first ride, go for a coffee in Falmouth. Overall though, just first general impressions on the bike, I think it looks really good. It's certainly, to an element, built down to a budget, but this is just smiles per mile. Bang for your buck. That's what we're looking at here. I'm extremely excited about this. Oh, also, I'll take this to the dump later, don't worry. I love this setup. Yes, it's my parents' place, but I've hosed down the Jeep, the underside of it, because I'm going to give it a LANOGUARD treatment later, but it's just so nice to have that there in the garage. And before I forget, Voge and Loncin, they actually have a really good reputation for building engines, hence why BMW have chosen Loncin to build their 900cc engine for their GS 900. That's saying something. I was pleasantly surprised by this little 300cc engine. It's got a lovely sound to it. Let me just get that even closer. That sounds superb. Welcome to the port area of Falmouth. I love this little spot. That little boat down there, that takes people from here, and you can see people desperately running to make it, all the way over to the other side there, which can't be more than about 400 meters. And that area there is a really nice high-end spot where you can just have a walk around the countryside, look at the beautiful old buildings. And this boat, it just goes back and forth to there. It looks like this boat has been doing the exact same route for about 80 years. Off it goes. It's so nice because this type of stuff, it's the kind of thing that would be a tourist attraction in a lot of other places, but here in Cornwall, it's still used as a proper mode of transport. I love it when things like this are still kept running, still kept going year after year. What a sight that is.
Oh, the river Rhine sings by the linden tree. Its melody is calling me. There's a sweetheart yearning for me day by day.
Does anyone else remember this? I cannot believe it. I've just walked into this vintage shop and this toy is on the side. I had this exact toy. This brings back some strangely vivid memories. I think you have to push this button or that and something pops out. God, that's a blast from the past of my childhood. I'm beginning to think my parents have done a clear out of all my old toys as a child, because this is now the fourth thing I've seen that used to be mine. I wonder if there's a To Freddie Happy Birthday. No, but that book, it was 15 pence when new. It sounds very weird. That's the book that I used to come up with the name LIBERTATIA of our brand. That exact book. I remember I used to read this back to front non-stop and then read it again and just be absolutely amazed that these kind of pilots existed. I need to message my parents, find out what they've dropped off. I feel like I've just relived a significant part of my childhood being in that shop. It's always nice to come back to Falmouth. Falmouth has a really good vibe about it. It's got a little bit of a kind of faded glory feel, because along the high street you've got really nice grand old buildings, but then, for example, the window frames could be rotten, and then you've got a boarded up beautiful old shop, and then right next to it you've got a thriving business. It's got excellent coffee shops, places to eat. It's a real mix. It's always bustling. It's got a great vibe, and key, even in the winter, away from the core Cornwall holiday season, it's still busy and bustling. I do like it here. Standard. I've totally forgotten. What's this? Spiced cauliflower pasty. These are excellent. And this place, I've forgotten the name. I'll put the details in the description, but this is right on Falmouth High Street. Good coffee and excellent pasties. And if you sit that side, you can actually enjoy them with a view of the water. We've decided to look out onto the high street, but this is an excellent place to come if you go to Falmouth. Back to the Voge Rally 300. I always find this interesting because there's still resistance to Chinese branded stuff. But those who used to ride in the 1960s and 70s, they have told me many times, I've heard this over and over, and I appreciate it every time I hear it because it's fascinating to hear the difference. Those riding in the 1960s and 1970s, they said exactly the same thing about the influx of Japanese bikes. They did not want to initially buy Japanese motorcycles. Mirror image of what's going on now. However, you can definitely feel, and I've seen this doing the podcast over the past couple of years, the resistance to Chinese motorcycles has started to soften, especially as the quality of the bikes has improved significantly. Probably the best compliment for these kind of bikes is that I've heard from 2 different off-road centres in the UK that have taken orders not for example, the Honda CRF 300 rallies, but for these Voge Rally 300s, for off-road centres to be picking these Voge Rallies. Well, that does definitely tell you something. Plus, if you go onto the MotoGB website, that is the distributor for Voge motorcycles, it's currently on sale, £3,800, down to $3,500. Plus on-road costs, which may be about 120, but $3,500 for a brand new motorbike with warranty. These were actually at the ABR festival, the Adventure Bike Festival in the UK, which is this massive event where everyone can come down, race around on off-road bikes. And apparently last year, these Voge Rally 300s that I'm riding, they were fully booked. I have no idea what that actually was. They were fully booked out the entire time for the ABR festival. People were freaking out about these Voge Rally 300s. The fact that you can pick up such a cool bike for such little money. Times are changing. this, believe it or not, in fact you will believe it because I'm awful at off-roading, this is the first bike of this type that not only I've ever had as a press bike, but I've ever ridden in my life. I've never ridden a proper off-road focused bike with the knobbly tyres and everything like that. So I'm sure you can guess that's one of the first things. Sorry, there's a dog that's struggling quite badly in front of me there. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm sure you can imagine, head off-roading, because I'm so curious to check out how big a difference it makes having a lightweight bike with all of the off-road stuff set up. So what I'm going to do is some Googling off-road tracks, green lanes in Cornwall. But it was a very enjoyable experience. First things, the two obvious things, this can cope with simple riding, going 2 up extremely easily, and that engine, I'll formulate my opinion a bit more as the rides go on, but certainly that feels like a very strong little engine. I can get the impression definitely as to why Loncin have built up a reputation for building good, strong engines. I'll wrap it up there because we now have to take Basil on his second walk of the day, and he's an extremely demanding dog, and if we don't do everything to schedule, there will be hell to pay. So thanks so much everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Very possibly, I think I'll do the next video with some off-roading on this. So I'm going to try and find somewhere in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Cornwall. I just don't know the area that well, but I'm sure I'm going to find somewhere. Beautiful countryside, nothing around me, moderately hardcore off-road tracks. So thanks all for watching. See you in the next one. Fine. That was just for dramatic effect. I'm not willing to chuck away this stuff just yet. Ha ha ha.